Darwin, you want to join us up here?
Huh?
What? What's up?
Are you looking at me?
Yeah, I'm looking at you. What are you doing? Yeah, like a drink. What? That's right. Why? Can't you see this one? Yes, we're not passing the microphone. So you can have a seat wherever you like. I'm going to explain why later.
You mean a group house that has no yard?
We can quiet down just a little bit. We'll begin the seance.
Sorry.
You people are so well behaved tonight. What's going on?
We're among friends.
Yeah, we're friends. Good evening and welcome to Tulare County Voices at 2:10. Thank you all very much for coming out on this beautiful evening. I was talking with chat with Lynn about what a nice night it is out there for anything. So we really appreciate you coming in and talking about public issues with us in here. My name is Paul Hurley. I moderate this usually. I'm going to do something a little different tonight, though. A lot less moderation. I expect a lot of
Wow.
applause. I know. I expect a. There you go. Thanks. I'll introduce the lady on my right in just a second. 210, Tulare County Voices at 210 is a monthly forum dedicated to open discussion of issues of importance to the community. It's co-sponsored by the Visalia Times Delta, the Valley Voice, online newspaper. I don't know, we need to add that now, do we? No. And First Presbyterian Church, which owns this building, and we are always very grateful for the use of this space on the second Tuesday of each month because they support us and we get it free. And that's very important these days. This is kind of a special Tulare County Voices at 210 because with its previous iteration, 210 Connect, we are celebrating our 18th birthday tonight. Yeah, I looked it up. Only 2 years is we get to be 20. And 3 years we get to drink legally. And I want to thank all you for supporting us over all those years. We wouldn't still be here doing this if you didn't show up every once in a while to help us out. I don't know if we even have a title for tonight's forum. We usually have a title filled with, that's right, oh that's right, it was the future of fun. Planning for recreation in the city of Visalia. This is inspired because the city of Visalia is beginning just in the very start, few steps of its Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And so what we want to do is ask you, this is going to be a listening session tonight, so I said I'm going to be doing less moderation. The forum is going to be from you. We're going to ask everybody to come up and tell us what they would like to see for parks and recreation, or maybe anything about the city of Visalia. So we have these two mics up here for you to come up and speak. Everybody has to speak, including Bill in the back, Bill Osak in the back row, who always likes to keep a very, very low profile. Well, we're going to expose you tonight, Bill. Speaking of exposing people, I'd like to thank the planning team members for the Tulare County Voices at 210, right off the bat before I forget. Bill Osak, all the way in the back. Actually, really all the way in the back is Donna Kinshu. Raise your hand. She's in the darkness over there, talking about low profile. Lou Griswold, who's almost in the second row to the back. Miley Melkonian, who's in the front. And we always know where she is. And Catherine Doe over there in the corner. And whom else? I'm missing somebody. Right? No? That's it. Me. I did it. I'm Paul Hurley. I think I said that already. We could have had a whole bunch of experts up here, but you know, all we really need is one.
No pressure.
Liz Wynn is a member of Visalia City Council. Has been for, 6 years now? And she confided in me that she expects in the next year or so to make Parks and Recreation one of her primary focuses. And to do that in any city these days is hard, so give her all your support. So she's going to explain a little bit about the mechanics about what the city is trying to do. I'm going to start out by reading. This is what's on the City of Visalia website, by the way, regarding the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And I don't mean this to embarrass the City of Visalia or anything.
Okay.
Because it is rather brief. Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Good start. The City of Visalia Parks and Recreation Department is developing a master plan to define the community's vision and guide the department's direction for years to come. This next part's important. Your voice matters. The Parks Master Plan is driven by access, equity, and community. You can help us think outside the park. Is that yours?
That was good. No.
Okay.
No. They don't let me near the website.
Share your input on current parks and recreational facilities. That's kind of what we're doing tonight. And tell us what is important to you and your neighborhoods. A plan for everyone to play. The City of Visalia Parks and Recreation Department is developing a master plan to define the community's vision and guide the department's direction for the next several years and beyond. I think there's a little bit of repetition in there, but with the substantial growth and change in the community over the years, boy, growth and change, I think Liz will tell you a little bit about that, a master plan is essential for the future. So that's a pretty good start, and it kind of sums up what the city wants to do and what we want to do tonight. We want to hear from you about your ideas for parks and recreation. So I insist that everybody come up to one of these microphones at some point in the evening and talk about what your ideas are for parks and recreation in the City of Visalia. Doesn't have to be a long thing. Please don't make it too long, however. You know who I'm looking at right now.
I have a 3-minute timer.
Oh, do you? We can put the timer on them? No, we won't do that to you. The point really, seriously, is to get as much input, as many of your ideas as we can in the 90 minutes that we have tonight to talk about this. By the way, Liz is going to talk about this more, but she has a flyer that maybe some of you have that explains some of the public engagement events over the next month where the city will also be seeking public input about parks and recreation. Well, there's a whole complicated process that I'll let Liz talk about because she knows more about it than I do. But the city is very serious about collecting as much information from the public, from you, as they can to help improve our parks, to develop maybe some interests that haven't been given much attention before, and to make sure that the city's looking way forward, decades forward in the future, to plan for these things. I noted in an advance that I wrote for this event that, 20, 30 years ago, and certainly before I moved here, the city did not have a skate park. It did not have a disc golf course. It really didn't have any of its own dedicated soccer fields. There was one other important thing too that they were missing.
Dog park.
Dog park, that's right. It did not have a dog park. My point is that those things only came into existence because you had interest in those things and supported them and let the city know that it was worthwhile and that was something that you would support. So you're going to be part of that process beginning right now. Okay,
Ready?
I am.
Okay. Good evening, I'm Liz Wynn. I'm your current vice mayor. I see a lot of familiar faces out here. Can you hear me okay in the back? Okay.
Can you
Um,
tilt it maybe a little?
Tilt it a little more? Is that better? Okay.
I'd hold it, Liz.
I'll get closer. We'll have to write notes. That's why I'm here. Oh, you'll take note? Oh.
That's good.
Before I get started, I'd like to introduce our city manager, Leslie Cavilla, over here on the side. So I have that option to phone a friend, right? Thank you all for being here. The ink is barely dry on the consultant contract. So we are in the very, very beginning stages of this whole process, which will take over a year. So what you will see, although Paul gave a great reading of the tiny little description on our website, there will be a whole page on our website launched this month, a little later this month. As I said, we are just in the beginning. I hope as you came in or before you go out, you pick up one of these flyers. This has multiple opportunities for you to speak with city staff and share your ideas for park and recreation within the city of Visalia. One of the things that I wanted to share with you on the whole process, it's a long process. We're not rushing through this. We're going to make some really informed and data-driven decisions, because who knows how long this park master plan may last us. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or like City Hall, 50 years. We just don't know what the future holds for us. But let me give you a little bit of a breakdown from our Park and Recs director. The master plan is anticipated to be completed by late spring or early summer 2027. Okay, so that's a ways out. The council will be given a presentation on survey results and the results of some of these meetings, not all of them. So there'll be a great amount of them happening in the next month. On June 15th at our council meeting. Probably, is that going to be a work session item, you think, Leslie? Yeah, so that's work sessions start at 4 o'clock, just so you know. Throughout the whole process, there will be multiple opportunities for public input, not just at this kind of beginning stages. It's going to go on throughout the whole year. They will go back to the Park and Rec Commission, and they will give their input before it comes to council. There'll be public hearings at the council. There'll be opportunities. You can go to a Park and Rec committee meeting. They'd love to have some interest as well. So as you see, it's going to be a long process. But most importantly, it just from my perspective, which is not good sometimes, it's going to be the impetus for a new impact fee. We have all these new homes being built in Visalia, and they do pay a park fee, but it hasn't been updated since 2005. I think costs have gone up a little since then. Yeah. So that will be updated. So that Nexus study will be completed. And of course, that's all a public hearing process as well, because I would imagine there'll be some in our community who may not want the fees raised. That might be developers, but I'm not naming names. But what I'm here tonight is you're officially the first listening session. So what I'd like for you guys to do tonight is to think about what the perfect park and the perfect park location is for you. And let me know what amenities you think we need. Maybe there's some that we need to be, my park on the corner needs a swing set. My park here needs, or where you think we're lacking in parks. Because this will be data-driven as well, so as we look at where our population growth is and where our parks are currently located and future parks are planned, they may be adjusted. We may say, ooh, that might have been good there, but now we have 100 new homes 3 miles away, let's keep it closer. We want a neighborhood park in a neighborhood, right? So those are the sorts of kind of complex issues that we will be addressing. I should say, our consultant will be leading us through, but I intend for this to be very public driven and a diverse number of public opinions. So that's why if you look every kind of free event we have going on in the city in the next month, because April and May are our beautiful weather, and let's get all of our fundraising events and free events going during this nice times. There will be city staff available. And there's also an online survey that I really encourage you all to take. Send the QR code to your friends, neighbors, grandchildren, everybody. And I'm tired of having public surveys where we have 400 people. We have 145,000 people in this city. I want to shoot for 1,000 surveys. And then I want to dream big and say, let's go 5,000. But anyway, I can dream, right? So what I'd like to do is just open it up to you. I will answer questions that I have knowledge of, but again, we are so early in the process. We haven't really heard from the consultant yet as to what the whole master plan is. They're working that out. They had the consultant is called Pros Consulting. They've completed numerous parks and recreation master plans across the United States. It's led in coordination with Mike Setz, and then I can also take your questions. Do you have a sign-in sheet up back there?
You mean
For the attendees or any?
I didn't put one out tonight.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. If you would like to give me your email address. If you'd like to give me your email address, even we can write it on the back of a piece of paper, I'll make sure that you get on the city's mailing list. You'll also have that opportunity if you scan the QR code and go to the website. So without further ado, I am here for your questions. I'm here to take notes with Leslie,
Zach, you wanna turn that one
and
back
would
around?
love to hear from you.
Could you turn that mic back around, please? Turn the mic back where it was.
Oh,
Thank you.
to face the audience.
Okay. Hey, Brian, can you get the stream on a screen up there? Yeah. So I can see it. Okay, one of the reasons I am asking everyone to come up to the front and use these mics at the front is so that you will be on camera for the live streaming and the recording for the YouTube video. Okay, it will be live. It is being live streamed and it will be posted. There you go. You can see us all. So we want to be able to see you rather than just hear disembodied voices from the audience. In addition, when you come up and speak, this is optional, but I'd recommend that you do this. Hey, is this what are you?
Waiting.
You give me a dig?
That's what the meetings are like. He lets us talk.
Oh, look who's talking. Oh, my goodness. Talking about pot and kettle. This is optional, but I recommend that you tell us your name and your phone number so we can get back in touch with you. So the city can get back in touch with you. If you're going to give us information that you think is valuable, then make sure that the city can then contact you. We're not using that information to violate anybody's privacy or anything else, so don't worry about that. Catherine, what?
Go
Did you
ahead.
have something else you wanted about that addition? No?
I just want to ask my question.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
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 All
So
right, fire away.
I have several questions, but I'll just start with one so other people can start. So you said people should come up here and say what they want, but there's certain things that the city has that maybe we don't know about. Like, can you take a few minutes and tell us, is there an ADA park? Is there, because I think there's one.
There's an inclusive park,
Yeah,
yes.
but you go, hold on for a
Right,
second.
sure.
And then how many dog parks are there? And then like something else, like maybe we don't know, like how many soccer fields are there, how many pickleball, so we don't have a bunch of people coming up, I want more pickleball. Or I don't, you know, so take a few minutes to tell us what we have.
I'm gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna help Liz out here for just, even before that. Remember that she's a city councilwoman, but she doesn't know everything about everything in the city, so
Right.
just hope that she could. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think our phone a friend probably.
I wouldn't hold less to know about everything.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't have a current inventory. That's part of this process, though, right? We have this consultant, we have a team from Parks and Rec, and they will be inventorying everything. I can say that I know about, I think 3 dog parks that I know. Plaza. Yeah, Plaza. There's one on Tulare near the railroad tracks, right?
Yep.
And there's going to be a new one out at Riverway.
And that's open, right?
No, it has not opened yet. We didn't have the money for that one right now. Mooney's Grove is a county park. Yeah. Is there a dog? I don't know if there's a dog park there. Okay. By the lumberyard? It's out, it's east of Lover's Lane, by the flea market. Yeah, yeah. Right,
Okay.
that's the East Side Regional Park. We'll need you to come to the microphone.
Okay, as long as we're on dog parks, I do have a recommendation. The one on Tulare, which I believe was the very first one in the city, which was great that it started the whole thing off. However, I know personally of one dog fatality because of that location, where an owner was, a human was getting their dog into the car, and the dog was hit by another car. So if you could take that into consideration when you're designing dog parks. And then Catherine was asking about ADA parks. Yeah.
Yeah, so we received a grant for an inclusive park, and it was originally scheduled to be by Imagine You Museum, but unfortunately, the railroad had a little bit of a problem and had some really high demands that would have priced that park out of there to keep, and I get that, people say. So we're looking at a couple of new sites. They'll come to the council in another month, maybe? Yeah. And then we do have the grant, which will pay for probably 80% of it. Yeah. And so that's going to be a nice asset. Yeah, yeah. It's similar to what's out at Mooney's Grove. The county had it, the same grant, but they have one out at Mooney's Grove as well. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, do you want to come up to the mic? You mentioned that you've gestured a couple of times.
Yeah.
You wanted to add something, so.
My name is Richard Rodriguez, and I'm kind of disappointed. I wish we would have just, the things you're asking for, it looks like we could have had a list so we can go from there on. But anyways, what I want to say, my name is Richard Rodriguez. Who am I? I've been in Visalia for 50 years. My parents come from the Cutler Rossi area, and, and my kids went to the Visalia Unified School District. So, and I'm a past commissioner for Parks and Recreation in the city of Visalia. My wife was a past commissioner for the Transit Committee. And also, I was on the first group for Leadership Visalia. And today I come speaking as a Visalia runner. The Visalia Runners are the oldest running group in the city of Visalia. It is a nonprofit. We've been here since 1979. And some of the members are here, such as Mr. Ozak, Mr. Brinkhurst, Roger Siebert, who's not with us,
Yeah.
Missy Lestrange. All these people were past members, So I'm representing them today. So, like to say, I like what you're doing with the Visalia parks. They're clean. I commend you for working with the county and working together and having nice county
Yes, sir.
parks. So I commend you on that.
Did you hear what happened when you got close to the mic? Everybody could hear you?
I don't know.
Well,
That's
please speak into the mic.
Okay,
It will help your being heard
Okay.
on the live stream and the.
okay, and I wish we would have told about that because maybe I don't want to be live streamed.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious on this.
I bet if you talk to him, he can blur your face.
I commend you on putting bike paths on all the parks and the streets. That is great. Keep doing that. I commend you having park for dogs and all that. Keep doing that. That makes it neat. I applaud you for having Blaine Park was the first park that was for handicapped people, and that also had for children. Keep doing that. Put the young and the old together in the parks. The young see the oldsters. I'm 80 years old now, so see the oldsters. Oh, that looks like Grandpa. Grandpa looks at the little one, and we cry because we see the youngsters. Keep doing that. That is neat. So I applaud you in doing that. But there are two things I want to bring up. You know, make your parks accessible to the young and the old. Keep doing that. The other one we've heard about, a community pool complex. That's a nice one to have. The question comes up, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay? Because we're all going to ask certain things. So the question comes up, how are you going to pay for it? Are you going to raise our taxes? Property tax, sales tax? I'm just asking.
Yep. Well, those are legitimate questions.
Because that's why we elected Trump. We were tired of taxes. Yes, our development money's coming in. So how are you going to pay? And you don't have to answer today.
But that's part
a
of the
big issue.
study.
That's correct.
Is how are we going to pay for that?
That's correct.
right?
That's correct.
It's really the last question we should be asking. Now, we
But,
don't need an answer, but it's got to be the last one.
so those are the things important. Keep doing what you're doing. Combine the young and the old together because we need each other. Parks are the future of the young and the old. I really believe that,
I agree.
okay?
And Leslie's heard me say it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Our developments are on such small lots now.
And
We
the other thing
need
too,
the green
more
space
parks
for our
you have
families.
too, the more parks you have, you have the police get involved. So do you have money for the police because they have to patrol that? So it's not an easy issue, but the money is. And that's one thing later on. How are we going to pay for all the ideas that's going to come from here?
Yeah.
You know, but I don't want my property taxes to go up. I don't want my sales taxes to go up. You know, developers fees, go ahead. Let's go with that, you know. Anyways, that's all I have to say.
Thank
I
you.
love what you're doing with your parks. Keep doing what you're doing with your parks. I like the community center, you know, and mesh the young and the old.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Could you say something about the commission that you were referring to? What that was?
The Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, that you served on, what that was or what?
The city of Visalia, I don't know if they have it now.
We
I'm
do,
80
yeah,
years old.
we do. Parks and Recreation
Oh,
Commission,
it's
very active.
They have a Parks and Recreation Committee made of members, and they meet every so often, discuss items that have to do with. That's a commission. The commission, right. That's what, yeah, they make reports to the city, I'm sure they do. But
Yeah,
I-
because they do the heavy lifting for us. They take care of, like the Planning Commission does. They look at parks and proposals and things,
Yeah,
and
I
they
think, I
get the
think the
input.
city has a lot of commissions, and one of them Parks and Recreation, just like my wife was in the Transit Committee, and they make reports, so on. I didn't know if you know, but something, yeah. Anyways, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, take care.
Yeah.
Keep
thank you
doing a
so
good
much.
job.
Thanks for speaking up. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Come on, Mark.
I'm Mark Wall. I'm president of the Southern Sierra Cyclists. Bill or not Bill, Rich took some of my thunder because he's older than me. His wife was on my transit advisory committee. I don't know if you remember that, Rich. Yeah, we both go back a long time. I wanted to bring up a few things, and I want to first off go along the same line as Rich and say the city's done a lot of good things for a long time, and we've benefited greatly. But there's new things happening that we should be thinking about that might be part of this plan. One of them is, I think probably all of you have noticed how many kids there are on scooters running around town, going pretty fast with no helmets on. And there are also other personal mobility devices, including bikes and e-bikes. And that should be something that we really want to focus on, because I think that's going to grow and grow and grow, and it's going to be something that's going to need some attention, both to keep the kids safe and to give them a sense of the community without feeling like they're being pushed down all the time. I would really love to see, for many years, there's been a vision on some people's parts of completing the bikeways that connect all of the regional parks. Mm-hmm. And I'm speaking of Plaza Park, Riverway, Cutler County Park, the new East Side Park, and Mooney Grove. And maybe there's more in the future. But we're not very far away from connecting those parks. There are projects on the books, thanks to the active transportation plan, and a lot of funding that's coming to Visalia. Visalia's received more money from the active transportation plan in this past cycle than any other small city in the state.
Mark, how close is the city to connecting all those?
Okay,
Especially the ones that Cutler and Mooney.
Okay, so right now there's a direct connection between Riverway and Cutler Park with the St. John's Trail. St. John's Trail connects to the Santa Fe Trail. The Santa Fe Trail has a gap from roughly Houston Avenue to Tulare Avenue,
Which we're planning on finishing.
which is on the
soon.
books. There's grant funding for that. Santa Fe Trail goes all the way down to, I'm gonna miss the avenue number here, but the avenue that runs on the north side of Mooney Grove. Is that it? Anyway, yeah, that sounds about right. And so the issue there has been, we're almost there. There is farmland there with farmers that we think want to develop their land, and they're not very far off the development trail right now. So that is another big piece to build a bike trail along that avenue, or perhaps along the waterway that goes through some of that farmland. And then and we left out the East Side Park. So the East Side Park will also eventually connect to the Santa Fe Trail. And Caltrans has a project that is years away, but it would provide a overpass over State Route 198 that is very much going to be designed with bicycling and pedestrians in mind. You know where the power lines cross the
Power line,
highway?
148. Just
One,
past the
yeah,
Paula
yeah,
Field.
thank you, Leslie.
148.
So there's another connection there. Probably the least connected for now would be Mooney Grove to Plaza Park. But we are going to see improvements. There are some being made now on Caldwell. So we can, and Caltrans, I'm sure, is looking at bike lanes between Mooney Grove and up to the point they are just south of Caldwell now. So that could connect to Caldwell. And once you connect to Caldwell, you're almost to Plaza Park. There's a rural road out just before you get to Highway 99 that right now a lot of cyclists use to get up to Plaza Park. So, so it's, and then from Plaza Park, to complete the circle, you go through the industrial area. There's reasonably good places to ride there, and there's the Goshen Trail. I forgot the Goshen Trail. The Goshen Trail is going to be much different in the future because there's a lot of funding to improve it. I was there with the city back in the, I guess, the 80s, when the original trail was being planned, and they were absolutely trying to do it for the least money possible, and it shows. And so this will be a big improvement. And so it's a very doable thing to connect all of those parks. We don't want to leave out all of these smaller parks that many of them have bike trails through them for short segments. It's important to have those and to try to connect the neighborhoods to those parks, and hopefully eventually to connect them to the bigger parks. And so that's really to say we should feature bike trails as part of all of those parks, and we're already doing some of that. So it's not a brand new direction, but it's something we could see improved more. It's not just about facilities, though. There's a lot of emphasis on facilities because cities and counties go after grant money that pays for facilities. One of the unique things that the city did in getting these more recent grants where they were so successful is that they tied community engagement to these new facilities they were going to create. And so there is grant money available. It's already in the grant. I don't know how far along that contract is with the consultant that is going to be working on this community engagement program. But their job is to go out and work with the schools and work with the community to emphasize the soft side of all of this. It's not all about facilities. It's also about people learning to ride safely, learning to enjoy that they can get places without getting in their car. Some of the things that they have had in their proposed work program are bicycle skills classes, community bicycling challenges. This would be things like a bike month challenge between employees, schools, challenges to get more people on bikes. And this consultant has the marketing skills and the tools to use social networks and other things to really reach out to people and get people interested in these things, and to provide prizes and things that will grab people and say, hey, if I go do this, I'm going to get recognized and win, you know, a new light for my bike or something. You know, just it's small things, but it's things that are incentives. Community demonstrations and events to promote new improved infrastructure and routes as they come online, to demonstrate safe biking practices, distribution of educational materials and engaging residents in active transportation, doing things like making sure every child has a helmet and that they're wearing it properly. Dale out there, she's done some helmet fitting over the years, and you know, TCAG, Tulare County Association of Governments, has been doing this for a number of years now. It seems like there's always been some community organization that's interested in doing this. Well, I think this program will add to that and grow it and make it bigger and do it in the schools as well. Community bike rides, community outreach with targeted activities. After-school programs is a big one. I've been talking with Bud about after-school programs, and this is, you know, something where the schools, I think, have some budget issues at this time, and this program can provide after-school programming that they don't have to pay for at the schools. There's already money there to do that through this grant. And it's only for 3 years, but 3 years is a good start. So also bike rodeos, school assemblies where there's educational presentations at school assemblies, and then working with some schools to do bicycle train programs. This is, or bicycle bus is often called. And what this is You know, you drive through the city and you see all these bus stops. Well, with schools, you can have a micro version of that and have the equivalent of bus stops, but for bicycles. And so you work with the parents and with the schools to set up a network, kind of like a car sharing network or carpooling network, where people can sign up, and there's places where they can meet the bus of bicycles coming towards the school. And so it's like there's, who knows, half dozen bus stops on the way to school. And at each one, hopefully there's kids waiting. Maybe their parents are with them waiting. And the train comes along and the kids join on, and that train of bicycles goes to the school. It's a fun way to get kids involved, and it's a safe way. With all of the traffic we have around schools now, I think it's a really important thing to do things like this to emphasize safety. So I've done all that enough. I'm probably talking more than I should. I'll do just a couple more quick things. I would love to see the city's return to a focus on volunteers. The city used to have many more volunteers per capita. We once had a volunteer house at, what was that? That was Locust and Murray. That was totally devoted to a place to come in and learn what you could volunteer for, and to recruit volunteers. I would love to see us return to that because it involves community engagement, which with parks, with active transportation, with many things in the city, we need more community engagement. We need people involved. And I think many of us are involved with organizations that see fewer and fewer young people attending. That kind of community engagement is important for all those organizations. And then the last thing I'll throw out there is crosswalks on busy streets. We have some great places to cross streets now, whether you're a pedestrian or a bicycle, on St. John's Parkway and Lover's Lane, where there's high-speed traffic. There are signals that help people cross the street safely. There are other places in town besides busy new streets where we need to look at that. And in my neighborhood, I'm thinking of Royal Oaks and County Center. Cars going along 40 miles an hour right there. There's kids crossing that street all the time, going to Royal Oaks Elementary, going to the park. So I would like to see a little more focus on that. That does it with the parks and the schools in mind. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Bicycling, bike paths, et cetera, are interesting because they cross over so many different departments and opportunities for funding, grants, et cetera. It's not just parks and recreation. It's also city planning. It's traffic, transportation, law enforcement, and education. All those things come into some of the planning for bicycles. So let's hope the city devotes a lot of attention to that. Thank you, Mark.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Bill Stewart. My wife and I have been citizens of Visalia since 2018, and we're interested in bikes and bike safety as well. I kind of drew up a plan. I don't know if this is redundant or not, but here it is. The objective is to develop safe, connected bicycle network focused on short 1 to 5 mile trips between neighborhoods, schools, downtown, and retail centers. The key outcomes we'd like to see: reduced bicycle-involved crashes on major arterials, increased short trip mode shift from car to bicycle, improve youth and family transportation safety, and support downtown vitality and climate goals. And I don't want to run through the whole thing, but I'm going to present it to you,
Oh, thank you.
and you can take
That's
it.
very helpful. I'm saying, I'm typing notes, but this be, anybody else? Thanks.
My email address is on the
Is on there as well? Good,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah. So
We
that's
have
it.
someone here.
Thanks.
Do you think Visalia is doing well as far as bike transportation now?
It's
That's a yes. Thank
doing
you.
fair.
We're working on it.
I
Continuous
think,
improvement.
Tulare Avenue was great. Great improvement, yeah. Glad to see that. We're kind of spoiled. My wife and I bike in Europe, and they are just,
Yeah.
miles ahead. So, anyway.
High-speed rail. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Doug Hofer. I moved here 45 years ago to be a tennis professional, which I've done. I've coached at the college. I've even started tennis programs through the city of Visalia, and I run a community tennis association for 30 years. And since I'm older, all those things have gone down. But I could tell you this, the city now is woefully lacking tennis courts. When I moved here, Mount Whitney High School's 10 tennis courts were all open. 9 tennis courts at College Sequoias were all open. 9 courts at Redwood High School were all open. And 8 tennis courts at Plaza Park were all open. Now, since the schools have closed their campuses, no tennis is allowed on any tennis courts. The college has lost 3 of their courts, and so they only have 6, but the college is closed too. And we lost 2 at Plaza Park to pickleball, which is fine, but the problem is now you have 6 tennis courts for 145,000 people, which is really sad because tennis since COVID has more than doubled, and the number of participants, if you think of about 50 kids from each high school, that's 5 high schools, and their families play tennis. And so we are just way behind in tennis courts. I've been to other rec meetings and talked about this, so I just wanted to make sure that this is brought up because we're in desperate need of tennis courts. And I know pickleball wants them too, but please don't put pickleball courts next to tennis courts. We don't like the sound. So that's all I have to say.
We had a joint meeting with Visalia Unified and COS last Thursday, and there were I didn't think about tennis. I'm sorry. I called a few people, but there were 5 representatives there because, as you said, and my kids grew up playing sports, and you were talking about volunteers. Well, a lot of our younger volunteers are coaching their kids because there's an explosion in youth sports, but they don't have practice facilities anymore because you can't get on the school campuses. But tennis is another thing. You used to be able to have that. Of course, part of that is the popularity in the high schools has grown tremendously too, so they are saving a lot of that for their own teams. But we did ask that we have a joint session with VUSD to see how we can get more schools and more practice facilities opened for the public. What will come of that, I don't know, but we're pretty, a couple of the council members are pretty determined that we're going to follow through with that and see if we can get some more things open. You know, in today's age of people walking on campuses and shooting kids and stuff, I see why they're cautious. But there has to be some way that we can work out a solution that's beneficial for the whole community and keep our kiddos that are on those campuses safe.
Do the schools or COS mention any solution that they had? Or are they just saying, no, we got to keep them closed because out of safety?
Yeah.
That's about it?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, my question was about you guys' joint meeting. You have it about once a year with VUSD, all the school and COS, and about. So what's frustrating is that COS put all this money into their all-weather track. They did have an all-weather track before.
Right.
Our taxes go to that, and then they closed it. And so when you guys do have your meeting, I guess another goal would be, okay, so there's unfortunately the shooting situation, but when the schools are closed, they can open the facilities. I don't know if that ever came up. When the kids aren't even there, I don't understand why they have to keep it locked up.
Yeah, I didn't.
Did that even come up?
Not with COS so much as via USD. COS is so impacted already. Their population has grown and their sports programs have grown so much. I remember those days too because I used to go down there and walk around
that's
that
where-
track, right?
Yeah.
And then
And they would have the practices. There'd be the football practice in the middle.
Right.
And people walking around the track weren't getting in the way of anything.
yeah, there's a lot of vandalism. There is. I know some of you have heard about the Riverway Park fencing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you think that's
That's a
really where your
dilemma.
city council wants to spend money?
Yeah.
No. Our calls for service between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. when the parks are supposed to be closed.
Yeah.
And then we have some of our more outstanding citizens who decide they're going to drive their cars and spin donuts around all our nicely maintained soccer fields, so they're ruined for the kids. There's parents coming to a council meeting telling us about the condom that their 3-year-old picked up at the end of the school slide. There are things that people do to our bathrooms and trash cans and things that are less than desirable for a family-friendly environment.
Yeah. Well, about
So
the
I understand why COS, they've spent a lot of money on
Yeah.
that facility, why
and
they
it
keep
what
it
used to be
closed.
open to the public certain hours and you could go in. So a compromise, it seems like when you guys have that meeting, how often do you have that meeting?
Just once a year.
Oh, it's once a year and it just
So
happens.
I would say that's probably a good thing to go to the COS, one of the board meetings, and during their public comments, just bring that
Right.
up.
But it's all the schools. We put our money
Oh,
goes
yeah.
into all the schools and
I
it
know.
seems like if the city and the schools and COS get together and make a
And-
compromise.
Right, and that's what we're trying to do. We're just
Yeah.
trying to get an open dialogue
Yeah.
going so that we can see, because it would be a lot less expensive for the city to help put up a fence
Yeah.
than to
Or-
build a new park.
Or just
so that you
have
can
hire one
access.
person to lock everything up at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And then it'd be 10,
Right.
10:15, 10:30. And like all the tennis courts, there's no reason the tennis courts can't just be locked up at 10 p.m. And then that would be a lot less that the city has to build.
Right.
If you take all the facilities that the schools supply already, that's all that the city does not have to pay for.
Right,
All the fields, all the soccer fields, all you just need to pay
right.
for some, not just, I know it's a lot. Go around and lock them all up, like
Yeah.
at 10. Have
yeah,
them available.
because the city has to have staffing there on the weekends, so they're charging the Babe Ruth League $6,500 for
Are you talking about Riverway? They have
Riverway.
yeah.
for
But the
for
schools
that.
could have open, they could just be,
Right.
and just have one person lock them all up. Yeah.
But that covers that person's, because it's weekends and it's time
Yes,
and a
yes,
half,
yes, yes, I know.
and, yeah, yeah.
Just,
So
yeah. It's a big deal.
it is a big
Yeah.
deal,
Yeah,
and there's
but it's less
liability
that
involved, and
yeah,
but
it's
we
less
would
that
really
Visalia
like
needs.
to work with them.
Yeah,
That's-
and it would be less that
to
Visalia would
find
need
that.
to pay for.
Right,
And
and we'd
build.
love to find a solution
Yes,
that we
there's
can
gotta
all
be a
agree on.
compromise.
It's a complicated,
Yeah.
it's a
Very
complicated issue.
complicated, yeah.
Who's next? Go.
Yep, please, come on up and
Yeah.
stand in line.
Joanna, you want to come up here and get ready?
Is this working?
I know you've been chopping at the bit, so.
Okay. Okay. Dale Simmons. I second the volunteer house. That's a great idea, Mark. They should bring that back. They got rid of committees and commissions willy-nilly, and we're missing solid community help. There used to be a crossing guard at County Center in Royal Oaks, and that person's been gone for a little while now. And then I would also like to have a tax for the pools and other facilities, have a parks tax. I believe they've done that in Fresno County, city of Fresno. And
Sales tax for parks is what you're talking about,
no, I believe it's a property tax.
property tax?
I don't, but I was wondering here's one for the, if you can call your
My phone a friend.
call your phone a friend, yeah. How much for $1 million a year to support the pool, I understand. How much a property tax increase would that need to be?
For $1 million?
$1 million.
It wouldn't be a lot, but the problem is that a 2/3 vote, Leslie, for property tax increase? Oh, yeah, that's right. Bond, yeah, you'd have to do a bond,
Okay, what about,
right, bond.
I don't know.
That's 2/3. Yeah, that's 2/3. So you would have to get 2/3 of the people in this room who just stood up and said they didn't want to increase their property tax to increase their property tax.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be just for the pool, it'd be for other parts.
Yeah.
But there's a million. Correct. I know, I'm wishful thinking. And then, we talked about the railroad going through town, I was thinking of Rails to Trails when it finally finishes their, run, if they do finish, have a, go from wherever it starts to, I believe it ends in Exeter. That would be good. And then if you did that, then you could also do I've seen in at least one place, they use hand cars for fun, to run hand cars
Oh, yeah.
up and down the rails, which for fun. So they could do that like a,
And I believe
Yeah,
Santa
many-
Fe got abandoned through the Rails to Trails years ago. Remember, the train used to go down Santa Fe, and then that's turned into, they abandoned part of that, so.
yeah, well, I worked on the Rails to Trails in Fresno Clovis years
Yeah.
ago, and it was very successful.
Great.
So that's all.
Thank you, Dale. Next.
According to Wikipedia, in 2023, 900 million was needed for court infrastructure to keep up with the growth. And I'm sure that's for tennis and pickleball, that racket sports are very popular. So I'm just here to say, yay pickleball. But actually, I liked my idea. I thought that we need a new tennis facility with at least 10 tennis courts. And if we could make the existing plaza facility into pickleball, that could help our situation. This is not a popular idea amongst other players. I agree with the 2-court package in our parks. I like it. You can't put the courts right next to the housing.
Right.
You have to have a buffer. But I think it helps families. I like the idea. I know a lot of our players don't. They say we are a community. We are. Oh, well,
I could, yeah,
like
explain that.
Recreation Park. They have 2 courts there.
Get right on that, Mark,
Yeah,
Mike,
there you
so
go.
everybody can hear you, and the streaming.
Oh, brother, I forgot about that. Yeah. Actually, they're adding more pickleball courts at Recreation Park. There's going to be 4 more courts there.
Yeah.
Eventually.
What's the 2-court thing?
Well, it's like a package. They did it in Dinuba, and I think they took the idea from Visalia. Warren Gubler went to the senior games in Utah, and he saw pickleball, and he said, I'm going to bring it to Visalia. And so he had those 2 courts built there at Rec Park. And it took a long time for it to kick in, but when it finally did, we realized that we have too many people for 2 courts. But it's great for a family park, in my opinion. But because, obviously, if 50 people are going to go over there to hog the courts, that's not a good idea. So I think you try it in one park and see how it goes. Yeah. But you can't have it too near the housing because it is obnoxious. I wouldn't want to live near that pop. It is, Doug. You're right. It is. I admit. I probably have hearing loss. No. But anyway.
Thank you.
I think the parks are doing great. The city has been very receptive. Recreation department has been very receptive to pickleball and anything, even moving the geese. The geese come. the geese come over and bother us. It's like, feed us, feed us. And so one day, I actually guided them back all the way to the restrooms. And then they came on the tennis courts. And I had to go back out on the tennis courts and guide them out again and make sure all the gates were closed.
These are those candidates.
I don't know.
Can-
One was
Yeah, that's-
black
it's
and
Canada
white,
geese.
and the other one was white. Yeah, but
Oh,
they
they're
just
all-
come over, but the pickleball courts and go, rah, rah, you know, more goose-like. But anyway, thank you
But
for
anyway,
having
Joanna,
this.
I know I'm going to hate myself for this, but how many pickleball courts are there in the city of Visalia now?
10.
There are 10, okay.
Yeah, there's 2 at Rec Park and there's 8 at
And how many
Plaza.
do you think there should be now?
Oh man, that's
20?
crazy. It
50?
Well, how many-
yeah.
There's,
maybe
there's
60.
also at In Shape, they have pickleball courts,
Yes,
right?
we're kind of getting fractured a bit because In Shape is offering pickleball. We have private individuals that are building courts.
And
at
that's
their
going to
home.
increase because it's going to be profitable.
Well, we hope so. The
It would
indoor
be, I mean.
facility that's coming. Doug made a good point. He said, "Who's going to pay to play pickleball?"
Oh my gosh.
I didn't respond to you. I was going to, and I thought, no, I better not. Oh, you did on Instagram. I
Oh.
saw it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Well, he's right. I mean, who? When you can play for free, who's gonna pay for?
Okay.
At Plaza Park,
Well-
the 2 courts he was talking about,
Right.
they were turned into 8 pickleball courts.
All right, guys. Well, this will be recorded, so we'll see who's right. Okay.
Anyway,
Who's next?
Thanks, Joanna.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. 60 pickleball courts. Well, I don't,
just put in their first 3. They're all,
really?
yeah,
Oh, jeez.
said they're providing.
3. Who are you?
My name is Louis Griswold. Hello, everybody. Paul, former colleague and good friend. I'm here to speak on behalf of the social dancing community. I'm very active in my local dance club. It's called Visalia Smooth Dancers. Our need is for a decent dance floor.
Yeah.
There is, the dance floors are disappearing. I think it's due to lack of demand, to be honest with you. There used to be a dance floor out at Sons of Italy Lodge. When it got taken over and rebuilt, they took it out. There is a dance floor up on the Oddfellows Lodge on Court Street. And heating and air conditioning costs are so high that essentially that building's not being used. And so that's out for us. Our club uses the Exeter Veterans Memorial Building, which has a very good facility, nice and big, and the cost is reasonable. And thank God for that. I do worry that something would change in the future that I can't predict that would make that unavailable to us somehow. I'm not anticipating that, but you have to think ahead. Also, the Grange building out on the white building on North Shirk Road, there is a wood floor in there, and the dance club uses it frequently for dance lessons. It's not really large enough to have what you would call a dance social. That's the big problem. A dance floor needs to be big for ballroom dancing and waltz and foxtrot and that sort of thing. PPAV Hall has a nice dance floor that's a pretty good size. I don't know the cost of it. We use it once a year for our Christmas dance, and it works out pretty well. I don't know about their availability, but it is an option. But the point is, there aren't many options in our community. So that's our need, and I would like to think that somehow the city, if they were to build a new building to meet a lot of needs, could have a dance floor in there for people who like to dance. I'm representing myself, by the way. The name of the club is Visalia Smooth Dancers, and there's a website. I'm the webmaster. VisaliaSmoothDancers.com. Check it out. I've noticed that young people like to do swing dancing, and they like to do salsa, and they like to do what's called West Coast swing. I don't know if you know what West Coast swing is. It's an elaborate type of active swing dancing. It's very popular, especially back east. So that's what's happening for young people. Older people like to foxtrot and waltz. The problem is we're all getting older. You had a question? That's a good question. Can basketball courts work? I don't know the answer to that. I will say this. I suspect that the people who use basketball courts for basketball don't want us to dance on it. Right. I would like to commend the city, actually. The senior center has dance lessons on Monday nights, and a lot of people who join our dance club start their first dance lessons over there at the senior center on Monday nights. And the city fixed the floor. It's not a wood floor, it is a vinyl floor, but it was in terrible shape, and it's much better now, so thank you, city. About renting a dance floor every now and then, somebody said, well, can't you rent a dance floor? Well, you can. There's a lot of problems with renting a dance floor. One is storage. The other is setting it up when you need it. And the third is that there's fewer rentable dance floors than there used to be. There used to be 4 companies nationwide that have rentable dance floors that they would take and set up in a convention center or whatever. Now we're down to 2, and the price is just really going up. It's tripled in the last 4 years. One of the things to think about when you're designing a dance floor, it really should be wood, and it really should be what they call floating. It's built on slats so that it's got some give. There's also a type of dance floor that has, I would call it, foam underneath it that does the same thing. When you design a dance floor, you need to have room for dancing. When you're doing foxtrot and waltz and you move around, it's called progressing. So you need room to progress. If you're doing swing dancing or salsa, you just stay in one place. A room of this size would be plenty good. But for waltzing, you really got to have a lot of room. You need a place for people to sit. You need a place for a water table. You need an entry table so people can come in and pay their fee to come in. Generally speaking, you need a little kitchen because you need to serve some snacks and even meals at times. There's a lot of considerations. So when your consultant takes a look at this, I hope they take that into consideration.
In my notes. In my notes.
Lou?
Yeah.
Lou?
Yes.
Let me follow up a little bit on a question that Mark was asking, actually, about how can dance floors be repurposed for other uses? How can you build one that can also be employed by other activities?
Well, to my knowledge about that topic, anybody can use a dance floor for whatever their needs can be. Like, for instance, Exeter, they have quinceañeras, they have weddings out there, they have city council meetings, all kinds of stuff. Just as long as the floor doesn't get beat up.
Okay, yeah. So any public space,
Yeah.
it includes a dance floor, it's there, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So anyway, thank you very much for listening. That's my particular need. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane Stewart, and
Get right close to that mic, Diane.
I don't think I wasn't sure if you're also including activities at the community centers, because that's my interest. We moved here 8 years ago, and that was our first social connection, was ping pong at the senior center. And that was just great for us. And it led to, people getting together and doing all kinds of activities. But, ping pong Mondays and Fridays was a regular. And I've just been so grateful for that introduction to a brand new part of the state where we had been in the Bay Area for the previous 20 years. But so I'm really grateful for that. But if we're talking about more activities for the community center, I'd like to see more music, because I talked to one of our ping pong players who goes up to visit her brother in Los Gatos, and I said, well, what kinds of things? She said they had a really neat senior center. And she said, well, we do a lot of music. And so that really resonated with me, and I would like to see the city hire somebody to do, say, a community choir. Oh, we have a community choir?
Oh, yeah. I think some people in here can connect you to that, right?
Okay, so then I'm glad to hear that. And that was my burning desire. So is it at one of the community centers?
The Visalia Community Choir is combined with COS, and in fact,
I knew
they're
about the
having this
COS
big
one,
performance.
okay.
Yeah, they just did it. Yeah, Teresa's
They just
on
did
that,
it.
right?
It was Friday, sorry.
Okay, then I'll look into that, and so they'd probably have other ideas about music together, and, people who aren't professional musicians but love music and don't want to be a lone voice. It's just such a nice outlet. So I'm happy to hear about that, and, all kinds of music associated with choirs, like a barbershop quartet and a lady version of that too, and maybe recorders and other Renaissance instruments. And a regular person who knows a lot about music to organize that. That's what I would really like to see.
That's cool.
They're there, you will find them.
Hi, everybody. Bud Darwin. Let me get back. I don't need to do that.
He's an outdoor teacher, you can tell. Good job,
Yeah.
bud.
Want to applaud the city, first of all. Parks and Recreation. Great programs. There's a lot of great stuff. I'm a big fan of recreation, have been since I was very small. My parents thought being together and being outdoors was important, and I've kind of made a career out of it. Done a lot of different things. Some of you that know me, I won't go into all the details, but when Bill asked me to come down here and speak, I looked up the definition of recreation, and it was kind of interesting. Recreate, right? And you can. I was thinking you could do that every time. We've all the sports that we've done, whether it's a team sport or individual sports, you're always trying to improve, right? And I know every one of you, I've fantasized about it, right? Winning the race, or working together, you're making the goal, doing all those things. And I've done a lot of different things. I've done a lot of hiking in my career. Being outdoors has been really important to me, and I've been blessed. And so I work for Sequoia Riverlands Trust now. We do volunteer programs. Anybody wants to volunteer once a month? We've got things going on. But getting kids outside and exposing them, and over my career, I've worked with students, and there's a lot of focus on vocational, and I think that interest inventories are really important to me, and they trigger different things with different kids. The kids that, I want to be a probation officer. I said, how long have you been on probation, right? I want to be a drug and alcohol counselor. Great, how long have you been clean and sober, right? I want to be a truck driver. Who's a truck driver? Your aunt, your uncle, your father, right? Someone. And so I tell kids vocationally, when you're in high school, your job is to go out and explore and say yes to as many opportunities as you can. You never know when you're going to get exposed to it. And I think it's the same for sports. You know, when I was younger, I could run. I can't run like I used to, right? I did triathlons. I did a lot of different things. But I think for me, the most important thing here is access and equity, right? We don't have a whole lot of ice hockey players coming out of Visalia, right? And tennis is a great sport. And having access to those courts, I've played a lot of tennis and used to go play for the racquetball every morning with a good friend of mine, yeah? So it's not so much advocating for any kind of sport in particular, but just access to different types of sports. And you never know what's going to catch and become a lifelong habit with a kid. We're social animals, right? And we like to socialize with people that are like-minded. And you mentioned earlier fun, right? Is that the theme? I used to spell it fun, F-U-N-N. We're functional understanding not necessary. There's an educational dynamic, right? You do something, and I would do games, play games with people. That's how you can see the insight into the person, because you ask a person what they think, and they're going to respond accordingly. But when you're playing a game, you're in a hurry, and you're trying to get something done. You don't respond, you react, and the real person comes out. And then it's a simple tool. What did we do, right? Describe what we did when you debrief. So what is the next question. So what does it mean to you, Bill? And what does it mean to you, Mark? Because different perspectives, you get different opinions and different views on things. And then now what? How do you take what we've done and apply it to the next scenario? And I've been doing that for years, trying team building. It's a key ingredient. So then I'm going to go back on my word right now. I'm just going to put in a big plug for disc golf while I'm here. I used to be able to do a lot more physically. And disc golf is, it's got the same attraction as ball golf. Ball golf's a billion-dollar industry. It's huge, right? Disc golf is the same thing. You throw this frisbee as far as you can, and then you chase it down, and you throw it again. And the guy with the lowest score wins, right? But it's free. I mean, it's cheap. It used to be, as a senior center, I used to pay $12.50 a year for a year pass at the county. That was my green fees for the year. I used to laugh, right? I can't afford to go play ball golf anywhere around, not regularly, not as often as I play disc golf. And I've got less money in my little bag of disc golf than people have in one club. It's a poor man's sport. It's very accessible. Mooney Grove now, I think it's great. They don't charge anymore. We had the first disc golf in town was over here at Seven Oaks. Troy Korsgaden helped put that in. And I run a weekly tournament there to this day. There's I think there's 5 different tournaments you could play every single week in Visalia. We play at Mooney, play at Cutler. We've got a bunch of courses in. I mean, we're close to being able to hold a world event, which would mean a lot of income coming in if we had. So I know there's been talk about putting a disc golf in there. Love to be involved. You can even put in a couple of baskets at the city parks, the little pitch and putt. And it's just, it's the access thing. Kids, frisbees are not expensive at all, right? And the kids can grab those frisbees and go down and throw some discs down at the park, get some exercise, have some fun, hang out. I'll stop.
I like that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Bud.
Thanks, Bud. We got a little
Here he
time
comes.
left.
Here he comes.
Oh, here he
Talking to
comes.
the front.
My wants are real simple, okay? In 2016, when we changed our address, I noticed that we're in East Visalia. And I noticed at Cherry Park, I think is what the name of the park is, but I'm not quite sure. Nice little park. Think there's a basketball court there or a net? No. There's a little walking area, and that's it. And yet that whole area has developed. I don't understand. And I contacted the city twice on this. Why can't we have at least one basketball court there? And I don't know if there's other small parks in the city, but it kind of goes with what we were saying. You could have one basket, you could have something for frisbee, whatever, frisbee golf. But it should be a simple solution. You put up a basketball net and you got a cement paved, and that's it. You could possibly use it for pickleball or whatever, but these parks can be used a lot more effectively than they are. The other thing is, and since we're talking about long-range planning, and I realize some of us ran for 26 years, like myself, until we could no longer run. So then we started biking, and then now we find ourselves sometimes taking all the dirt roads to Tulare, Exeter, Farmersville. And there's the railroad goes to Exeter, the railroad line, and that would make an excellent bike path. So we're looking at really long-term planning for the city. Why not have bike paths? How about the Tulare Visalia? Revisit that again. The city's getting bigger and bigger, and yet we cannot seem to get a bike path that goes all the way to Tulare that's not next to a road where people are going 60 miles an hour. That's all I wanted to say. Simple things.
Thank you.
I'm just going to, hi, I'm Donna Kinshu. I'm just going to put a quick plug in. I know the pool is not in the 10-year plan, but I would love to see a pool in Northeast Visalia. So.
Mine is really simple too. I go out on the trails every other day. And the one between, let's say, Ben Maddox on the St. John and Recreation Park doesn't really have a tree to shade me at all, and I get really hot.
More trees, that's your request?
Mine is to have trees.
More trees.
Put in the irrigation, and some of the pipes,
Yeah.
about 6 years ago,
Good
the
point.
trees never went in.
I have to follow my good wife up here since she was, and I'm speaking on behalf of the historical community. I know so many of these people in this room from my days as a runner, and Bill and I go out bike riding all the time. So I really appreciate the fact that I've lived here 45 years. We moved here back in '81, and I really applaud the city for all they've done in making the bike paths and the trails available. So much better than it was when we first moved here back in 1981, and being with Richard Rodriguez, we were runners together in the Visalia Runners, and with Bill. And so we moved here. I was really pleased with the availability of recreational facilities, and I think this Visalia has always taken pride in that in all aspects of the community. I quickly learned that it was the jewel of the valley. Mm-hmm. And there's always the jokes that went around how we contrasted with Fresno, who took pride in having no pride, and Bakersfield. It's not hell, but you could see hell from the back door. Those were canards that I heard. They're not my original. But, and I could see what a special community Visalia is. But as a historian, I taught for 25 years at COS, and I've been very involved with various aspects of local history. And I guess my major concern that I'm focused on right now is to see the Visalia heritage, the transformation of the depot. And I just wondered what role, I guess, the city is playing in helping to facilitate the development of that long overdue project, because I know a number of people that are really directly involved, and I've heard that they have to raise in the tune of $6 million. And I just wonder what role the city is taking in helping to facilitate that. I know it's basically a group of volunteers, but
Right.
What's the connection there? That's my question.
Well, we're working on some things behind the scenes that if I tell you, I have to kill you. But I am personally working with them. I'm writing grants with Mary Beatty and a couple other people. So we've been writing grants. So it has city support. We had a few ideas. Yes, there's an open house coming up. I think it's going to be the road less traveled, but I think it'll happen. I think it's a great. I mean, personally, I think it's a great project, and I know that several of the council members support that. But I want to caution you, having now been in government for 6 years. So if we give some money to the Depot Museum project, then who do we say no to? The Fox. The Fox is a historic, right? And they're always needing repairs. And then there's a Hispanic cultural center they're trying to get going. They have the property already. And then there's, it goes on and on. So we carefully have to evaluate that. But on a personal note, I am working with them we've written several grants. We've gotten a couple of them, nothing huge, but I think it'll happen. Hopefully, I'm not sure it'll be in Walter's timeline, but I think it's gonna take the village to make this happen, and I'm really excited about the possibilities of that, because that could really transform that whole kind of art district area, which is already really coming along well. But yeah, so I'm not, if there's 5 council members, there's a city budget, there's other things to consider, so I wouldn't be prudent in my job if I said, oh yeah, we're gonna promise you $4 million. Oh yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. So, but yeah, I wish them the best of luck, and as I said, personally, I am trying to help them as much as I can personally too. Anyone else? Come on, Mark. One more. See, it's not like city council. You can only speak once there, right?
Been on for 3 minutes. Yeah. So
Good
several
night,
people
Bill.
mentioned the railroad lines,
Yeah.
such as to Exeter to Tulare. There is a Cross Valley Corridor concept. Liz is familiar with it.
Coming up.
That TCAG has been working on, and the way they're looking at it right now is, well, we're going to build some roads that other cars don't go on, and our buses will be able to go really fast over to Hanford and stuff. And maybe someday there'll be light rail there. But almost every community, smaller community, we're not talking Bay Area Rapid Transit, but we're talking rail like they have in Sonoma County. Almost all of them put in bicycle trails alongside the rail projects that they're thinking about. Cross Valley Corridor is something that could really happen, and it could connect initially perhaps something like Exeter to Hanford, but longer term it could be Porterville, Lindsay, Exeter, Visalia, Hanford, Lemoore. It's doable. There's enough railroad lines that they can follow to make this happen that I really hope that the city gets behind it, and maybe it's something that the consultant might add to the number of things we can partner with.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of they've got like $60 million in funding, so that's going to happen. But I don't know how many years it's going to take, but it'll first connect probably Visalia to Lemoore, because NAS Lemoore may double in size, and a lot of their folks like to live here.
that would be great.
Yeah. Well, it's more to do with our geography and the ability to house the F-35s rather than the F-18s. So.
I think the initial planning money for this, $60 million just to plan, part of the reason that was approved was looking at high-speed rail. It will connect with high-speed rail. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and that's something we should all be thinking about, but it's not recreation, so I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. I'm not sure we'll be here for that. But,
All right. Well, there's at least 20 of you who never did come up here and voice your opinions, so we're going to hunt you down and beat those opinions out of you later. But we have run out of time for tonight. I want to thank Councilwoman Liz Wynn and the City of Visalia and City Manager Leslie Cavilla Really appreciate her being here too. Let's give him a nice round of applause, please. We have discovered that the League of Women Voters has scheduled a candidates forum for May 12th.
And May 7th.
Well, May 7th, but we don't have a conflict with that, so it's, I can mention, there'll be one on May 7th too, but the reason I mentioned May 12th, because that would be the date that we would meet here. So we are going to graciously yield our time to the forum sponsored by the League of Women Voters and others for that. So we won't be here in May.
Different venue.
Hopefully we will, yeah, by the way, that candidates forum is 6 p.m. at Tulare County Office of Education on May 12th. And it's for the California State Senate candidates, of whom we only have like one or two have agreed so far, right?
Everyone for the Tulare County, no, for the State Senate 12, all 3 candidates will be there, so that'll be exciting. And I'm still stalking one of the other
Senate District
people.
12, okay.
Yeah, Senate, and for Senate District 16, Melissa Hurtado is in session, so she can't make it. The Vice Mayor of Bakersfield, I can't remember what her name is, Mapreet Kerr. There you go. She can make it. And then I'm still trying to convince Guillermo Gonzalez to come. And then we'll be able to, but all 3 candidates from Senate District 12 will be there.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
So anyway, we won't be here in May. Go to the candidates forum. Hopefully we'll cook something up for you in June, okay? In the meantime, thank you very much for attending tonight. And good night, Godspeed. Do it on a bike if you can.